map and tournament point for Australis. It's been said time and again, Semler, but Danish Counter-Strike is one hell of a draw.
Hey guys, what's up? Hope everything is good, and today I want to talk about something that is quite new in esports and in CSGO, and that is the idea of sports psychologists. Now when you hear me say sports psychologists and CSGO and esports, you're probably in one of two camps. Either you thought that was absolutely crazy, or you agreed and think, yeah, that makes sense, I can see why it happens and why it exists. Personally, I used to be in the former camp. I used to think it was absolutely crazy to have sports psychologists in a game.
Second one on the Waylander is nuts.
Shut up! Shut up!
Shut up. Oh yeah.
Recently, I have completely changed my stance on this, and I now think it's a great idea for top level teams to have sports psychologists. There are a couple of reasons for this. There's three main reasons for me personally, which I'll cover in just a couple of minutes. But one big reason, which is there for everyone to see, is the Rise of Australis. So Mashable have actually created a video on this, which is perfect. It's now on the screen now. Credit to them, of course, and I'll put a link in the description below. But you can see that Australis came from basically being a team that were great, but made a lot of mistakes, to really holding down on those mistakes, improving, and now the result is there for everyone to see as they are major champions.
I think having a mental coach on board helps a lot. I mean, you can see 10 years ago there was pretty much no football or ice hockey teams or anyone who had it. Now pretty much all big clubs have one full-time employee who works with the players and everything. So I mean, that if something is proof of concept, and we can see that in CS, that a lot of mental coaches coming in and actually helping the teams out, because CS, more than any other sport, is a mind game, because it's like when you feel invincible, when you feel the mood is on, I mean, you play so much better than you can do the day after. Even though you're in this exact same spot, exact same settings, you're gonna be worse, and it's only your mind, you know, that does it. It's nothing physical at all.
So as my idol Heaton said there, you probably all had games where you've played amazing, you felt invincible and nothing could touch you, and then you've also probably had a game maybe straight after or the next day where you felt like you can't hit anything. And chances are there's no real reason for that. It's probably just that you've gone into the game, you've had a few poor rounds because, you know, you've been headshot straight away. Especially in a game like Counter-Strike, there are things that can happen that are completely out of your control. It's not a game where it's completely all 100% skill, maybe like a game like Quake. Things happen in Counter-Strike, everyone realises this, but sometimes it can affect you mentally. Just because you got randomly headshot 2 times in a row across the map, you can then think, I'm not playing very well here. Your head will get down and you will just play terrible for the rest of the map. So one big advantage of sports psychologists is that you can actually manage that. You know that you're still playing okay, you're just having a bad time at the moment, and you don't let it affect your gameplay. Another big point for me personally is something I've only experienced in CSGO. So let me just take you back a few years to 1.6. I used to play in a good team and I used to play against good teams. I would only ever play in this invite only IRC channel, and every single team would be quite a high tier team, so I'd know the players in that team and I wouldn't think twice about the possibility of them cheating. If someone got a nice headshot on you, you know, you consider it a nice headshot, you wouldn't think anything else about it. And if I mixed with anyone, it would probably be with my friends. We'd do like 10 mans and things like that, and my attitude used to be great for 1.6. I never used to have bad thoughts about, oh, what if my enemy's cheating. Whereas in CSGO you play matchmaking, and I play things like ESEA and Face It, and you look at the scoreboard and you might see someone on an enemy team and his name just looks like he's collapsed on the keyboard, he sneezed on the keyboard or something, a completely random name. You look at his Steam profile and he has a couple of 100 hours, but yet here he is on this server going around headshotting everybody. So the first thing you'll probably do in that situation, and I've noticed that pretty much everybody on my team, if I play solo queue matchmaking, does this, is call out on the microphone, this guy's going to be a cheater, and straight away every time they die they will complain about that player killing them, say he's a cheater, saying it on chat, just calling the other player a cheater. There's a chance obviously that that player might be cheating. I'm not saying that he's not, but if you manage to find a way to put that to the back of your mind and just play like normal, because the fact is, if he's not cheating, if he's just got a second account and he is actually a good player, you're not doing yourself any favours by being in a worse state of mind and playing to a lesser extent of your full potential. And therefore, because your mindset is he's cheating, I'm going to play worse this game, you're just throwing away games that you'd probably otherwise win. Obviously, this specific example isn't a problem for top level professional teams, but it's just an example of how you might have some flaw in your mindset that a sports psychologist can help you improve.
Team Australis, it's a dream client for me. First, we started off working with the team spirit. Then, of course, I do individual work with them because all of them have their strengths and weaknesses as players. It's always day by day. You kind of like see in what kind of shape the boys are in, how they're doing. They're constantly developing, so you have to keep adapting to that as well. So it's all days are different. I do consider the boys being athletes, and that means that you have a certain kind of a lifestyle. So the boys in our team, they're running, they're jogging, they're going to the gym, they're watching what they eat. Yeah, it's extremely important to be fit.
So the second example is definitely geared towards people who play Counter-Strike full time, and if they could do, they'd sit in front of the computer and play for 14 hours a day, and that is a fact that that's not healthy. You probably will be in a worse shape of mind and body if you do that. So having a good balance between eating right and getting exercise and also playing enough to be at that top level is very, very important, and something that a sports psychologist can help a player and a team achieve.
Well, I think having a good sleeping schedule and doing some physical activity. You don't need to be in super athlete shape to perform good in CS. So just as long as you move, because you sit down during those tournament hours. I mean, you can sit down for 4 or 5 hours straight on the stage. So you need to be able to get oxygen into your brain. Otherwise, I mean, you're gonna perform a lot worse than you normally do. You need to go out walking or running a little bit, or maybe go to the gym a little bit. You don't need to be in super shape to perform good, but just as long as you move yourself a little bit makes all the difference. I mean, I have myself as an example. I mean, I got huge when I quit ice hockey in the beginning of CS, and I was so tired, so my performance started going like this because I didn't move myself. I had only junk food and all this stuff. Then I started, just going out for walks for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour sometime, and I started performing again.
The third point, and this is something that's very, very relevant for me at the moment, and that is dealing with losing. So to use that 1.6 analogy again, I didn't mind losing in 1.6 because I knew who I was losing against, and we played a lot of games back then, and I had a great mindset. After I finished playing Counter-Strike 1.6 in about 2009, 2010, I wanted another game that could replace Counter-Strike for me in that competitive aspect, so I started playing StarCraft 2. Now, at the beginning of StarCraft, I had no problems whatsoever. I used to be able to lose all the time because I was brand new to the genre, and I had a lot to learn. I had no ego behind me, so losing was something that happened, and it just didn't bother me. I learned something and moved on to the next game. However, after I played StarCraft 2 for a couple of years, I got to the highest level, which is Grandmaster. If you don't know, StarCraft has different leagues, so you have Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Master League and Grandmaster League. And when I got into Grandmaster League, I pretty much stopped playing quite a bit then because I wasn't good enough to play professionally in StarCraft, but I was good enough to be at a top level in the league of StarCraft. So I just stopped playing for about 2 years, and then upon coming back to StarCraft, I just couldn't deal with losing because I had that stupid ego behind me. I knew that I used to be good at the game, and now if I was losing to some random player in Diamond League or Master League, it used to frustrate me so much to the point that I just stopped playing. Also in CSGO these days, I have a similar problem because if I play a game in FACEIT against someone who I know is a great player, I enjoy every single second of that game and I play well. But if I play someone who I said like in point 1, where they have some random name and barely any hours, I don't enjoy that game. From the very first round, I don't enjoy it and I play poorly, and that is something I'm trying to fix at the moment because I don't play Counter-Strike competitively really anymore. I only play in ESEA, FACEIT or matchmaking, so I need to really fix that mindset because it just stops me from playing the game. Now you might be thinking, how does this equate to a professional team with a sports psychologist? Well, just think if you have a team of 5 players all with high egos who are really good at the game, and if they're playing well and beating a team 8-0, they're all on fire and they're all playing great. But if they go 2-0 down after losing the pistol and then lose the first gun round, their heads drop and they start arguing with each other, then, I think you see it quite like the French scene actually, you'll then have a team who are capable of great things, but because they have so much internal conflict and such a high ego, they just don't play to their full potential. So a sports psychologist can help them deal with the fact that they will lose rounds and that it doesn't really matter, you can still come back and win those games. So that's it for today's video. Let me know what you think about sports psychologists in CSGO and in esports in general. If you think it's a good idea, if you think it's going to be a case that every single team this time in 2 years time had a sports psychologist and it's vital for winning. I'm also really interested to know if you have any personal hang-ups that stop you from performing well, like maybe you actually you're scared to play matchmaking because you don't like the idea of losing, or if like me, when you see someone in the other team that might be a cheater, you just don't enjoy the game. Let me know that. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that, and I'll catch you next time.
The emotional journey for these players, how long it has taken them to get to this spot, Semler.
10 majors, Anders.